Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Lauren LeRoy with BigID, and we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT, CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Dr. Santha Ramakrishnan, Global Data Governance Lead at Sanofi. And data quality, so we know it's always an issue for large organizations, right? To your point, you have someone who is collecting data from all different kinds of data sources, people who are building data and then have to have the right data quality to pass on. So what types of data quality challenges are you facing? And where do you see the most in your organization to maintain, how are you maintaining that high quality trusted data in your organization?
Yeah, the challenges we see are common. I think this is, if there's one thing that we have to, we see in other industries, it's the same thing. You don't have the right, let us say, a record number that's similarly represented across the thing. You don't refer to a certain thing by the same term across the enterprise, right? Things that typically spin up master data and reference data initiatives within a company. So those challenges for it are the same. I think those challenges are there across the organization and across all organizations. I think it's not new to us or new to others too. But I think where pharma has to learn from maybe the banking industry or someone that has gone there before is how do you industrialize this R&D, bringing data quality to data and in an industrialized manner, right? How can you make this so robust, rugged, and it's kind of self-evolving and to be in a better place, if you will. So those are some things that we across pharma are learning from other industries as well. And things like AI come in to do data management as well. You could potentially apply some of these newer techniques of AI and ML to build in quality. And that is what we are all going to be attempting very soon.
That's great. Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great benefit to be able to apply technology to use AI, right, to find those data quality issues and to be able to communicate that, right? So as your data engineers, as you are passing data around through your organization to know what the right data is and what it means also, right? So data quality could mean even data quality as far as knowing how to define the data and what the data means. Are you doing any work without data definitions or data glossaries?
Exactly.
Yep.
No, we aren't. I think we start from the basics. Let's define and then fix, because otherwise we're going to be talking different things. So about the first exercise in anything that we do is get to the definitions, centralize the definitions, see that we speak to the same thing, and of course apply the definitions consistently as you evolve these projects.
I completely agree. I think also being able to prioritize data, right? So being able to know what the right data is, what you need to prioritize is also going to be a key feature. And technology can help with that as well. So we know that technology has played a large part in transforming and scaling the businesses, helping businesses just increase efficiency, reducing costs. So what new technologies have you seen leveraged that have helped in your work and you're making data-driven solutions?
At this time, I think what we're seeing is really that everyone has a lot of work to do, pharma in particular. So we're using traditional technologies like master data management and all of that, but really putting a new spin around it in terms of how do you really use them, right? When should you use them? When should you customize them? Would they go the whole way? Like I said, research R&D is very niche. So when do you use these trusted technologies? But when do they? Where should we change? I think that's the kind of dialogue that we're having with the organization, because how to manage the everyday with the nuanced, and how do you manage that nicheness is what is the conversation about.
Yeah, that's a great point too. You mentioned about being knowing what solutions to help you with what problems, right?
Problems,
and right, and there's some solutions you can use out of the box, but sometimes you need to be a little bit more customized for exactly what you need, especially in pharma, right, where you're dealing with some very nuanced data or nuanced problems. But your earlier point is that you do see some of that across all organizations, right, and how you can learn, how different industries can learn from other industries. I think that's really important as well. And just to kind of wrap up, at the end of the day, a data governance leader is measured by how they have helped their business stakeholders. So what key metrics in your role do you measure yourself against, and how will you measure success? In other words, what does a successful data governance program look like to you?
Very nice. I think I love that question actually, because in what I do, one of the things is really, like I said, we're doing data governance to build value, right? That's really the intent. So the metric must parallel that ambition. And one of the things that I am particularly responsible for is seeing that we reuse data across the organization for beyond what it was originally thought of. And say beyond clinical submissions, what do you use it for? It's lying there. It's a gold mine, that whole stash of data. So how do you generate value from that data is really the ambition. How many policies, where sometimes they can be stuck in conservative policies. How do you use the Office of the Governance to say that broaden those policies in a compliant manner and see that more use cases are being served by that need. So really, I think if I had to do a metric, would be how many more use cases, new use cases did you enable with the use of data? And how many more people are coming knocking at your door and saying, hey, I have this new interesting problem. That's a real life thing. I can track use cases, but the more people that are writing to me and saying, or to the data office in general are trying to say, okay, come, I have this problem. Where should I go? What should I do? That means two things. One, that we have established our presence as people that can help you with that problem, and there's confidence in what we do. And both of those are very good success metrics in my mind for what we do.
I completely agree. I think your point, the data is a gold mine, right? So the more use, data is more valuable when you can use it more. And then being able to do, as you're talking about, putting data quality and more use cases, being it more used and more used by better quality and better definitions, it's just gonna make your data more valuable and be a real resource. And that's a great metric. So I love that too. Thank you for all of your comments, all of your intelligence, and just helping all the insight that you've helped bring us today. So thank you, Santha, for joining me today. And please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you.
Lauren, in closing, Lauren, I want to hear, you see so many things. This shouldn't be just a one-way conversation. You see so many people. What have you seen a lot of across the industry? And where do you think, what are some exciting things that you see across industries that maybe could be good learnings for us?
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you, Santha. I agree. So I do, in my role, I do see a lot of different roles and different ways people use data across different organizations, different industries. I think a lot of the problems that you are talking about today, which is why I was very excited to talk to you today, is because you're seeing a lot of problems that other organizations, other industries are seeing as well. So for example, knowing what data is personal and sensitive, right? So being able to ethically use data and being able to use data and have that data trust is something we're seeing as a very common theme across all industries. Being able to have data quality and data understanding is a very common theme across all industries. So I think there's some very specific things that you're seeing in pharma, but there's also very common threads we're seeing across all industries. So for example, knowing what data you have, making sure that it is properly classified, right? Knowing what it is, what is sensitive data, who has access to it, who can use it, how to use it properly. At the end of the day, your final metric is so important because data has best value when it's being used, right? And so if we can increase the usage of data, and to your point, people who are coming to knock on your door and asking for more use cases, that's a great indicator. That means that you are providing the right data, the right technologies, the right collaboration, people are asking the right questions, and ensuring that data has the right quality. I think that's definitely a key theme that we're seeing. So I love all of your points today because that's definitely common to really what we're seeing across all organizations using data.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lauren, and thank you to the CDO too for this wonderful session.